And finally, could all the other friends and mentors please stand to be recognized for the important contributions you have made to the education of our graduates. Again, thank you all for being here for this very special occasion. So I've attended now 18 of these graduations. This is my 19th, and I've participated in 9 as Associate Dean for Student and Academic Affairs. But this is the first and probably the only time I've had a speaking role. So I'm going to take advantage of this just for a couple of minutes. Every year at graduation, I think of my vet school graduation, and honestly, I remember almost nothing at all about it. It was almost 30 years ago, so that's at least partly why I don't remember. But there's one thing I distinctly remember out of, that big blur 30 years ago, and that's how surprised I was at to be congratulated by faculty members who seemed genuinely and honestly happy for me and proud that I was graduating. And it was actually kind of striking to me how surprised I was that I didn't really know the faculty felt that way. And it was a good feeling, but I guess my hope for the class of 2014 and all our graduates from this program is that no one in this class is surprised to know that we in the college are happy and excited and proud for you to be joining our profession, which of course is the best that there is. I think I can safely say that we in the college have been working as a team with you for the last 4 years to get you to this day. And our goal has always been to get you here in a way that's the most helpful and collegial and professional and caring as possible. And I hope that you feel the same way, and that in spite of maybe a few tough love moments, you've always felt that we're on your side. From the time we started orientation before classes started, through the hundreds of blood smears that you made trying to get it right, through the drama of the e-suggestion box, to climbing an extinct volcano together for some of you, to taking care of your surgery ponies and the 24-hour shifts in the ICU. I think that we have always tried to be the village that raised the veterinarian. And I think that you all know, and I hope that you all know, that we're very proud of you. We're very happy to be here graduating you today. And I hope that you remember that 30 years from now. You're a very special class, and I'm very proud to have been the interim dean, again for a short time period, but to be the interim dean that helps you graduate. So thank you very much. Class of 2014, you guys are definitely special. In many ways. I'm honored to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Rick Spinrad, who is Vice President for Research at Oregon State University. Dr. Spinrad became Vice President for Research at OSU in July of 2010. Prior to this role, he served as Assistant Administrator for Research at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. We're fortunate to have Dr. Spinrad with us just before he leaves for his next position at the National Oceanic and Atmospherics as their chief scientist based in Washington, D.C. Dr. Spinrad will be the senior scientist for the agency, driving policy and program direction for science and technology. Dr. Spinrad received his undergraduate degree from the Johns Hopkins University and his master's degree and doctorate in oceanography from Oregon State University. Dr. Spinrad.
Thank you. I am delighted to join you today for what is really a wonderful event. And I'm delighted that Dean Tornquist pointed out that I too am an OSU grad, so I take special pride in having this wonderful class join us OSU alums. Thank you, Dean Tornquist, for giving me this opportunity to say a few words. Let me start by extending my congratulations to this year's graduates. Our graduates are the university's most important contribution. That contribution to the future is especially important in this case for those going into caregiving professions, professions whether for humans or animals. I want to also welcome the family and friends of the graduates who are here to celebrate with all of you. Succeeding in the challenging veterinary medicine program requires all the support a student can receive, so it takes many people working in many realms to make today a reality. Let me add a special welcome to Dr. Mary Gardner, your keynote speaker, to Dr. Amsberry. I also welcome Senator Douglas Whitsett, Representative Gail Whitsett, and Dr. Orcilia Forbes of the Oregon Board of Higher Education, and the other dignitaries gathered here today. As a servant over the years myself to 9 beagles, 1 Labrador retriever, and innumerable cats, I can tell you that I've become increasingly aware that there's more to being a veterinarian than simply treating animals. As today's graduates know full well, drawing distinctions between the animal's needs and their owner's needs is increasingly misleading. The health of humans, animals, and the environment is inextricably linked, with the majority of emerging human infectious diseases having their origin in animal communities or the environment. It is testament to this college and to Oregon State University that these graduates, their faculty, and their peers across OSU's new Division of Health Sciences are responding to this circumstance with integrative education and research programs. These programs recognize the multiple interactions that occur across species, communities, and environments, interactions that are major determinants of health and well-being of society. The College of Veterinary Medicine in particular has taken leadership through its active involvement in the One Health Initiative, a rapidly emerging international effort that focuses on the integration of human medicine, veterinary medicine, and environmental science in ways that will accelerate biomedical research and improve both animal and public health. OSU's leadership in this growing effort includes a fine faculty, wonderful facilities, impressive support from the people of Oregon, and most of all, a group of graduating students well prepared to make a difference for their communities, their state, and indeed the entire planet in the years ahead. On behalf of Oregon State University, I congratulate you on your success. OSU is proud of each and every one of you and thankful to you for enriching our community over the past 4 years. I hope you'll continue your engagement with the college and the university in the future. I wish you all the best. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Spinrad. I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Senator Doug Whitsett to the podium. Dr. Whitsett received his DVM degree from Washington State University and is a past president of the Oregon Veterinary Medical Association. Senator Whitsett has been a strong supporter of the college for many years and continues to play a critical role in supporting the allocation of funding necessary for the operation of the Veterinary Diagnostic Laboratory. Thank you, Senator.
Graduates, most of you have spent at least a third of your life working for this day. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your graduation celebration. Representative Whitsett and I bring you congratulations from both the Oregon House of Representatives and the Oregon Senate. Arguably, the challenges and demands required to study veterinary medicine can only be appreciated by those who have completed the courses. You are now among the few who have met that challenge and truly understand the caliber of the preparation, the long hours, the hard work, the sweat equity that must be invested to earn your Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. Today, you have every right to be excited and proud. Welcome to our profession. The word veterinarian describes more than just a job. Your new status as a doctor comes with certain duties. The promise to treat each of your animal patients with compassion and to care for them to the best of your ability. The responsibility to always treat your clients fairly and with concern, kindness, and consideration. The commitment to be a reliable and valued member of your community, and the obligation to always adhere to the scientific method. I want to focus on that fourth duty, the scientific method. Computers are wonderful devices. They can greatly enhance our ability to learn and to understand complex issues. Computer models, when accurately calibrated and properly applied, can be incredibly effective tools. However, a computer model is little more than a glorified mathematical spreadsheet. Its usefulness depends entirely upon the validity of the data with which the model is calibrated. A corrupt investment counselor can calibrate a spreadsheet to make the worst and the most inadvisable investment look perfectly golden. So too can an unethical scientist calibrate a computer model to fabricate virtually any outcome that he or she is paid to produce. The product of any computer model is only as accurate as the data selected to calibrate that model. The data used must be empirically collected, reproducible, and statistically significant. Estimated, assumed, surrogate, or fabricated data points predictably produce counterfeit science. Too often we are asked to believe that biological systems are just too complex to support science that is statistically significant. Moreover, we are expected to accept unsubstantiated and often unverifiable assumptions used to calibrate those models. Scientific reports that are not statistically significant are by definition insignificant. They are irrelevant, immaterial, inconsequential. Worse, they are too often fabricated to justify a political end. The computer-modeled reports are then employed to mislead those who believe that science is the final word. There is no such thing as the final word in science. Moreover, there is no such thing as scientific consensus or settled science. When I was going to veterinary college back in the Carboniferous epoch, gastric ulcers in pigs was known to be caused by a bacteria called H. pylorobacter. That had been known since 1956. In human medicine, they have labored under the false assumption that stomach ulcers in humans was caused by stress for nearly 70 years. A few years ago, an Australian physician questioned that assumption. I mean, really, how dare he? He was ostracized. He was unable to get any reasonable funding to do his research. So what he did is he cultured some bacteria from a human stomach ulcer, and he grew it on a petri dish, and he infected himself with it. And he created a stomach ulcer, in which he then cultured the bacteria from, Koch's postulates. He was ostracized once again because it's unethical to use yourself as a guinea pig. But nonetheless, he did prove that gastric ulcers in humans is not caused by stress, it's caused by a bacteria that is ultimately imminently treatable by antibiotics. So for 70 years, people have suffered and died with stomach ulcers as a result of a false assumption that no one was willing to challenge. The scientific method requires that we continue to question, continue to probe, and continue to debate the validity of every scientific assumption. As scientists and newly hooded doctors, it is now your obligation to watch over the legitimacy and the truthfulness of what we call science. Congratulations, graduates, on a job well done.
Thank you, Senator Whitsett. I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Orcilia Forbes, our representative from the Oregon State Board of Higher Education. Dr. Forbes has been on the board since July 2012. She retired from Oregon State University in 2004 as Vice President of University Advancement. In this position, she served as the university's Senior Administrative Officer for Alumni Relations, Development, Communications, Marketing, and Community and Government Relations. She was named to the Oregon State University Board of Trustees by Governor Kitzhaber in 2013, and thus will be part of the group that governs Oregon State University and helps guide OSU's mission to serve the state and the needs of its citizen in a growing global economy. Dr. Forbes.
Good afternoon, distinguished members of the Platform Party. I am indeed here to bring greetings and congratulations on behalf of the Oregon State Board of Higher Education. This will be the last time that any graduating group from Oregon State does receive those greetings and congratulations. At the same time, I'm very pleased to bring you the same greetings and congratulations from the Oregon State Board of Trustees. We officially take over on July 1. However, we have been working very hard on behalf of this university, this great university and its students. I also want to take time right now to say Happy Father's Day. While I was out in the hall, I saw a young man with a baby, and I think it was probably planned so he could get those Father's Day gifts, because the baby looked like he or she about 2 days old. So congratulations. And like the rest of my colleagues on the Platform Party, I want to thank the family and friends and others, the faculty and the staff who have made this dream come true for you. I was most impressed with the diversity of the undergraduate classes, the undergraduate degrees that is represented in this class. You come from all over the country in terms of your undergraduate degree, which tells me that this diversity in the educational institutions undoubtedly helped you in the classrooms and in the clinics as you went along with your cases, etc. It was not too long ago that the VetMed students spent 2 years at Oregon State in Corvallis and then traveled to Pullman, Washington to complete their degree. This was not an easy life for the students, and Oregon suffered because the students did not always come back to serve our state. But through the efforts of the legislature, the faculty, the staff, other advocates in the institution, and philanthropy, that dream was made possible, and you are now benefiting from that. If I have a message today, it is to become passionate about higher education. I am. And as you go forth in your careers, set up your practices, remember that you can be an advocate, you can be a friend of the university, you can be engaged in your community, you can serve as a mentor, you can certainly open up your clinics for other students. So thank you very much for having spent your time at Oregon State. Congratulations again, and many happy years for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Forbes. Our keynote speaker today is Dr. Mary Gardner. Dr. Gardner received her DVM from the University of Florida, and she is the co-founder of Lap of Love Veterinary Hospice. With over 70 veterinarians around the country, this is the nation's largest group of doctors that dedicate their practice to veterinary hospice and end-of-life care. Dr. Gardner's passion is geriatric pet care and empowering owners to assess quality of life and help guide them in important decisions. Dr. Gardner has addressed the communications course for the veterinary students, and she was their choice to deliver the keynote address today. So I'm pleased to invite Dr. Gardner to the podium.
My wire is working? Can everybody hear me? There we go. Wow. how exciting today is. And I'm honored that you have chosen me to be your commencement keynote address, to give this. 2 months ago, I was laying in bed and I got a phone call and somebody said that OSU would like you to give the keynote address. And I said, well, that's June. What are they doing in June that they need me for? And they said graduation. And I thought, what an honor. As only 6 years ago, I myself graduated from vet school from the University of Florida. And it was one of the most amazing days of my life. And to be chosen to be a part of this day, you just cannot even imagine. I could probably cry right now if I wasn't so nervous. And I think I stand for anyone in heels that I'm proud I didn't slide down that ramp coming down. But I hope that I can inspire you as you join the profession that I have come to love. When I was in high school, I was never one of those children that thought I'd grow up to be a veterinarian. I was not the sharpest crayon in the box. I was the most colorful one. I was the class clown. I was friends to everybody. But to be a doctor, I just never thought that I could be that. Especially a veterinarian, right? Because that's the hardest med school to get into. So there's no way this girl was going to be a doctor, let alone a veterinarian. My dream was to become a marine biologist. I love the ocean and I wanted to save the whales. So I went to undergrad at University of Miami, and when I graduated there with my degree in marine science, I realized I learned more about plate tectonics and salinity than I did about marine mammals. And as life sometimes throws you curveballs, I ended up in computer software. Not what I went to school for and not what I thought would be my passion, but I went with it. I trained Fortune 500 companies around the world on the software. I helped them with their business decisions and make policy changes. I worked with software developers, coming up with new ideas in the software to help better the business that all these companies ran. It was a good job. It actually paid pretty good. I got to travel. It was a nice gig. And I was okay at it, but it wasn't my passion. It wasn't what I think I wanted to do, but I didn't know what that was. In late 1999, I was traveling for work as I normally did once a month. Somebody was watching my dog, Snow White. Snow White was adopted when I was in high school. She was a beautiful white Samoyed. Snow White followed me through high school, through college, into my career, and she was my co-pilot in life. Snow White was being watched by a friend, and unfortunately she got into a dog fight with another dog that was in the home. Snow White spent 3 weeks in and out of the hospital with a broken jaw, with massive wounds, and a horrible systemic infection. I called that clinic every day, about 4 times a day, to check up on Snow White, and you will have those people doing that. It's okay. Remember me. One day I called, and they said, Mary, Snow White had a bad day. You may want to come up and be with her today. So I hung up the phone and raced to the clinic. And Snow White was lying in the treatment area, just calmly watching everybody go about their day. She'd been there for 3 weeks, so she was well known to everyone. And I sat with her, and I was just there with her. If you had been there with me that day, at 5:50, 10 minutes before they closed, you'd have seen her look at me with her beautiful brown eyes, put her head back, and die. She died in my arms. I screamed for the vet to come help me, but she was gone. She had left my world. My co-pilot was gone. Have you ever had one of those moments in life that just changed your world? That was my moment. I knew that I needed to do something with animals, something to help families that love their babies as much as I love Snow White. I just didn't know what it was going to be. So I spent some time soul searching. I decided, I think I want to go be a veterinarian. That thing I never thought I could ever be. So I saved up some money. I continued to work because, remember, it was a good gig, so it paid pretty good. So I was going to keep that going because I knew I'd have a lot of debt when I got out and all the things that people were telling me. And I took night classes, and in 2003, I moved to Gainesville, which is in northern Florida, where University of Florida is. I moved and sold my home before I even applied to vet school. I was a little crazy, but I was getting in. And in 2004, at the age of 31, I was the 6th oldest in my graduating class. And I'll never look back. It was amazing. Now, of course, there are certain things about vet school I care to forget. For me, it was large animal reproduction rotation, okay? But it was the most amazing time, and I've met the most amazing friends and colleagues that I'm still friends with today. In 2008, I graduated from the University of Florida, and I was asked to give the commencement address at our graduation. Not because I was valedictorian, but because I represented the spirit of what our class was. And today I'm here inspiring, hopefully, you all as you join the profession that I now love so much. Wouldn't it be great if every day you woke up and was happy and excited and loved your job? Every day loved your job. Now, how do you get a job that you love? Well, I'm going to give you my secret ingredients for loving your job. And it's very easy to remember. There are 4 ingredients, and they stand for love. L-O-V-E. L stands for leadership. Find a job where you have somebody to lead you and inspire you every day. Someone that you can respect and work for and be proud to work for. Work in a company that you're proud to work in. And then one day yourself become leaders in our industry. Teach others how to move others, how to inspire, invent, innovate, lead change. Lead your career like no one else ever imagined you to do. And look to have relationships with others that you never thought you would, even with those crazy clients that call 4 times a day about their pets. The other ingredient is O, right? O, that is for ownership. Own every decision that you do. Even if you fail at something, own it. We will all have micro failures in life. It's important that we learn from them and have the dignity to take the ownership, admit that you've done something wrong, and learn from it. V stands for vocation. And find a specific vocation in veterinary medicine that rings true to you. So many times when we say, oh, I'm a veterinarian, everybody just will assume that you work in a clinic. Not that there's anything wrong with general practice, okay? But there's so much to being a veterinarian. You may be the radiologist that finds the subtle cues on radiographs of cancer. And before it's too late, be able to help that family. You may be a pathologist that investigates why a dog died or a flock of chickens got sick. You may be the equine vet at a horse track, making sure that they're not overworked and they're treated properly. You may come back and be a professor at a wonderful university such as Oregon State and teach the next generation of veterinarians. Many of you may actually be good writers and write for trade publications or write your own textbook. Or maybe in technology, building the software and the CT machines and all these other great features that allow us to do our job in the field. So don't hold back when people say, oh, where do you work? Okay, there's so many different options out there for you. You could be in the military. You could be in Washington fighting for the rights of other veterinarians and the rights of animals. You can work for the USDA, making sure our food production is kept up to good standards and the food that our children eat are treated with dignity and cared for well. So find a vocation in veterinary medicine that rings true to you. 1/3 of your life is working, at least, right? 8 hours a day. 1/3 of your life. If you are not waking up every day excited and in love with your job, you need to change something. We all have assets. We have money, cars, houses, jewelry. These assets can all be replaced if we lose them. But there's one asset that we all have that is completely irreplaceable, and that is time. Do not waste time in something that you are not happy with. Find a way to make it perfect. find a way to have a passionate love affair with your job. You're going to have days where you're crying, when you're happy, all right? And that is what love is all about, right? You're going to have a love affair with your job. So find the vocation that rings true to you and that makes you happy every day. E, the last ingredient, is for experiences. Go out there and experience as many different things as you can in life. Learn secrets from others. Go to continuing education and don't just party when you're there, okay? Later in the evening you can, but in the beginning, during the day, you want to go to continuing education and keep learning and trying new things. There's a quote from Thomas Jefferson, and he said, "To get something you never had, you need to be willing to do something you've never done." So just go out there and try different things. So L is for leadership, O is for ownership, V is vocation, E is experience. Those are my 4 ingredients for any career, for any of you in the audience today, to have a wonderful, joyful, and passionate job. Because it's not just a job, right? It is a career and it's your life's ambition. Now, how in the world did I find my passion in my career? You may have heard that all I do is end-of-life care. All that I do is in-home veterinary hospice and euthanasia. Well, when I left school in 2008, I went into general practice. I spent 2 years in general practice, and it was a great clinic. My fellow doctors were fun, the staff was great, typical client base, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do and how I felt I wanted to help owners. So I went to go visit my friend and classmate, Dr. Danny McVitie, and she was doing emergency medicine. And she was doing also on the side this veterinary hospice stuff, right? And she said, "Mary, can you come? Because I want you to help me with the website and build a software package that can help manage my appointments." So I thought, okay, I'll come, but what you do is really depressing. And I can't imagine anybody just dealing with that. Because I came to vet school because I wanted to save animals. I didn't want to put them down all day, right? That sounds really bad. And after about 24 hours straight of sitting with her and her telling me the families that she meets and the ways that she helps the animals, I just knew right then and there, that's it. That's what I need to do. October 18th, 1999, Snow White was in my arms and died. I know how important the passing of a pet can be. And if I can somehow help owners with the passing of their pet, that is so fulfilling, and it's such an honor to be there that day. That was 4 years ago when I left Danny's house and started Lap with Love in South Florida, and our intention was always to spread it around the country to give owners options no matter where they live for caring for the geriatric or terminally ill pet. We now have 70 veterinarians in 20 states working with us. 4 years ago. We had a lot of naysayers, okay? So do not listen to naysayers. I'll tell you one small story. 3 years ago, I went to speak at North American Veterinary Conference. It's the largest conference for veterinarians, and it's in Orlando. And this is just a few years out of vet school. Here I am speaking at NABC. And I ran into a professor of mine, a well-distinguished professor, and he said, "What are you speaking on?" I said, "Well, veterinary hospice." I'm all excited. And so he's like, "I don't believe in hospice. I don't believe in prolonging the suffering of animals for my own selfishness." So I said, "Well, you just don't know what hospice is, and you should come see me talk." But it really bothered me because I knew that he didn't get it. He didn't understand. And there's many people out there who do not understand veterinary hospice. But that's not what it's about. It's not about prolonging suffering. Last year in October, I went back to the University of Florida and I taught the euthanasia and hospice course at UF. And afterwards, I ran into an old professor, a different professor. He's actually the chief of surgery, Dr. Gary Ellison. Gary Ellison is about 6'3", so a big, tall, burly guy, very intimidating, especially to the students. And he ran up to me, and he gave me the biggest bear hug. Now, this is the chief of surgery. And he said to me, "Mary, I am so proud of you and Danny. You have no idea. I can't tell you how much that meant to me that the chief of surgery recognized what I was doing." And he said, "My father had terminal pancreatic cancer, and a few years ago he was in the hospital. Every 3 hours they poked his father for a sugar level, for glucose. Every 3 hours they woke him up to find out what his sugar level was. And when it came time to move him to hospice, they didn't come in every 3 hours to find out what his sugar level was. They came in once to find out what flavor ice cream he wanted. That's what hospice is. We cannot cure everything, but we can care for everybody. We can care for all of the animals and all of the families and all of the farm animals and the wildlife and everything that's out there. You're going to be faced with what we call compassion fatigue in veterinary medicine. I listened to a woman called Joan Halifax on TED Talks. I love TED Talks. And she talked about compassion. And she said there are 3 elements to compassion. First is to recognize suffering. The second is to aspire to change that suffering. And the third aspect is to not be attached to the outcome. And I know that I can't save all the animals, but I can help them. I can end their suffering and the suffering that their families are feeling as they deal with the end of life of their pets. And that's a great honor. Think back to the last day and weeks that you've had with a geriatric or terminally ill pet and how precious they are. That last moment, that last appointment they will ever have. That's when I come in. The most important appointment is the last one. And I try to make it as best as I can. And I have no compassion fatigue because I need the best families. If you think about my recipe, I'm leading a handful of veterinarians in veterinary hospice in the change of how we say goodbye to our families. I lead 70 veterinarians in their own career and following the things that I'm able to accomplish, and it's wonderful. I take ownership of every decision I make, even the failures, and I have a few. And I have a specific vocation that I adore. And the families that I meet give me the experiences that you cannot imagine. I meet the families that love their pets as much as I loved my Snow White. And when I say goodbye to her, I'm there for them. And it's amazing. Now, experiences are not just in your career, right? I want everybody to have experiences all in life. So, try out new things. You can find me still geeking out on the weekends on the internet and building software and taking ballroom dancing. Do everything that you can in life because I don't want to waste that precious, irreplaceable asset of time. Do not waste time. Now, there are 55 of you, all from different walks of life, and you're going to go into different paths. And if you ever forget and have a bad day, why you're in veterinary medicine and why you're in your career, I want you to think back to my recipe, and is there something that you can change to make it better? Now, it's difficult to remember everything that you're going to hear today, okay? So I'm going to leave you all with a small gift. I have 55 handmade stones. They're all different shapes, sizes, and colors, as you all are different too. On them, the word love is imprinted. Keep it somewhere safe, and when you have ever any doubts or feeling compassion fatigue or ethical fatigue, take it out and hopefully remember some of the things that I said. Now, the last person in this class, who's the last one that's going to come up? You don't get to choose your stone. But that's okay. Because sometimes life presents you with an option that you wouldn't have picked yourself. But it turns out to be the best option. As with me, I never would have picked becoming a hospice euthanasia veterinarian, but I love it. I challenge all of you to do something remarkable with your career. I challenge all of you in this room to do something remarkable with your lives. I love being a veterinarian. I love my career path and vocation. And although I am a Florida Gator, I love Oregon State University College of Vet Med, class of 2014. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gardner. We will now present the class of 2014.
Will the 32nd class to graduate from the College of Veterinary Medicine at Oregon State University please stand? Dr. Spinrad, the students in the class of 2014 have successfully completed the requirements for the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree, and they have been approved by the faculty. On behalf of the faculty, we recommend them for the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty of the College of Veterinary Medicine, the Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine, and the Graduate Council, as approved by the Faculty Senate and by the authority of the State Board of Higher Education, I confer upon each of you the degree of Doctor of Veterinary Medicine with all of the responsibilities, privileges, and honors thereunto appertaining. In witness whereof, you will be presented with your diploma signed by the constituted authorities of Oregon State University. Congratulations.
Graduates, you may move your tassels from right to left. Please be seated. Hooders and marshals, please prepare for hooding of the candidates. Please note that those students wearing gold cords have been recognized for their outstanding scholarship and have been admitted into the National Veterinary Honorary Society of Phi Zeta. We congratulate them on this achievement. Dr. Jacqueline Abatantono. Dr. Abatantono will begin a small animal emergency internship at Dove Lewis in Portland, Oregon. Dr. Emily Amsler. Dr. Amsler. Dr. Amsler will be working as an associate veterinarian at a small animal clinic in Vancouver, Washington. Dr. Erin Elizabeth Pugh Barth. Dr. Barth has been hired as an associate mixed animal veterinarian in Roseburg, Oregon. Dr. Michaela Brown. Dr. Brown will be entering a small animal rotating internship at a private practice in Louisville, Kentucky. Dr. Alexa Campbell. Dr. Campbell has a position as an associate small animal veterinarian in American Fork, Utah. Dr. Carrie Casita. Dr. Casita will be enjoying some much needed time with her daughter and looking for a job in the Eugene area. Dr. Elsbeth Allison Santola. Dr. Santola has accepted a position as an associate veterinarian at Gateway Veterinary Clinic in St. Charles, Illinois. Dr. Carrie Clarkson. Dr. Clarkson will be hooded by her mother, Dr. Christina Clarkson, who is a veterinarian. The new Dr. Clarkson will be working as an associate mixed animal veterinarian in a clinic in Minnesota. Dr. Misty Clausen. Dr. Clausen is returning to Montana to work as a small animal practitioner with a special interest in reproduction. Dr. Giovanna Coto. Dr. Coto will begin a small animal rotating internship in Downers Grove, Illinois. Dr. Christina Crawford. Dr. Crawford has a summer job as a resident assistant for Ballet West Summer Intensive in Salt Lake City, Utah. Dr. Barbara Danielson. Dr. Danielson will be working as an associate small animal veterinarian in Westland, Michigan. Dr. Misty Dornick. Dr. Dornick has accepted a position as an associate veterinarian at a small animal hospital in Portland, Oregon. Dr. Jennifer Drew. Dr. Drew is moving to the Eugene area to pursue a career in large animal medicine. Dr. Ashley Gladding. Dr. Gladding will be working as an associate at a small animal veterinary clinic in San Diego, California, with an interest in pursuing a zoological specialty to work with aquatic species. Dr. Christy Gravier. Dr. Gravier has accepted a position as an associate small animal veterinarian at a hospital in Las Vegas, Nevada. Dr. Andrea Hargrove. Dr. Hargrove plans to grow up and become a large animal veterinarian who plays with cuddly farm animals in an unknown clinic until she can move back home to Hawaii. Dr. Nicole Leela Herndon. Dr. Herndon is beginning a laboratory animal residency at Columbia University in New York. Dr. Kimberly Hiller. Dr. Hiller will be starting a one-year rotating internship at Pet Emergency and Specialty Center in San Diego, California. Dr. Nina Marie Helsley. Dr. Helsley will be hooded by her father, Dr. Raymond Helsley, who is a veterinarian. The newest Dr. Helsley will be working as an associate veterinarian with her father in a small animal practice. Dr. Caitlin Hollers. Dr. Hollers has accepted a position at a small animal practice in Maine. Dr. Samantha Lee Hunt. Dr. Hunt will be working in a small animal practice. Dr. Lance Raleigh Jennings. Dr. Jennings will be working as an associate small animal veterinarian in Mesa, Arizona. Dr. Alexis Jolene Johnson. Dr. Johnson will be hooded by her father, Dr. Len Sorensen, who is a veterinarian. Dr. Johnson has accepted a position as an associate mixed animal veterinarian at a clinic in Moab, Utah. Dr. Daphne Johnson. Dr. Johnson will be starting as a large animal intern at Pilchuck Veterinary Hospital in Snohomish, Washington. Dr. David Lee Johnston. Dr. Johnston plans to work as an associate veterinarian in Oregon. Dr. Carissa Jones. Dr. Jones will begin a laboratory animal residency at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. Dr. Caitlin Ann Kelly. Dr. Kelly is moving home to Southern California, where she plans to work as a small animal veterinarian. Dr. Kelly Ann Keatsman. Dr. Keatsman is excited to work as a small animal general practitioner in Southern Oregon. Dr. Tally Clipp. Dr. Clipp has accepted a position as an associate veterinarian at Crossed Winds Animal Clinic in Gilbert, Arizona. Dr. Christina Lackey. Dr. Lackey will be working as an associate small animal veterinarian in Vancouver, Washington. Dr. Elise Lefevre. Dr. Lefevre will begin a position as an associate small animal veterinarian in a clinic in Chesterfield, Missouri. Dr. Laura Meadows. Dr. Meadows will be working in a mixed animal practice in John Day, Oregon. Dr. Melissa Mercer. Dr. Mercer will begin working as an intern veterinarian at Southwest Equine Medical and Surgical Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. Dr. Kendra Moulton. Dr. Moulton has accepted an associate veterinarian position at a mixed animal practice in Goldendale, Washington. Dr. Catherine Marie Neely. Dr. Neely will be joining Town and Country Animal Clinic in Brookings, Oregon as a mixed animal associate veterinarian. Dr. Laura Christine Nyman. Dr. Nyman will begin a one-year rotating internship at Pet Emergency and Specialty Center in San Diego, California. Dr. Britton Nixon. Dr. Nixon will be starting an internship at North Carolina State University in equine medicine and surgery. Dr. Kelly Norton. Dr. Norton has accepted a position as an associate veterinarian in small animal practice in the greater Portland area. Dr. Melanie Philippi. Dr. Philippi will be working as an associate veterinarian in a rural mixed animal practice. Dr. Ryan Rodemaker. Dr. Rodemaker will be hooded by his father, Dr. Dave Rodemaker, who is a veterinarian. The new Dr. Rodemaker has accepted a position as a field service veterinarian at Feedlot Health Management Services in Okotoks, Alberta, Canada. Dr. Leah Marie Ramey. Dr. Ramey will be stationed at Fort Benning, Georgia as an Army Veterinary Corps officer, treating military working dogs and privately owned pets and horses. Dr. Sri Kumar Jamie Senthiraja. Dr. Senthiraja will be starting a small animal rotating internship at Seattle Veterinary Specialists, with the long-term plan of completing a small animal internal medicine residency and then teaching at a university. Dr. Robert Louis Siefken. Dr. Siefken will be starting an emergency animal internship at Dove Lewis Animal Hospital starting tomorrow. Dr. Lisa Sinner. Dr. Sinner has accepted a position as a small animal veterinarian in Selah, Washington. Dr. Steen Smith. Dr. Smith will be working as an associate mixed animal veterinarian at Animal Medical Care in Newport, Oregon. Dr. Elena Soderholm. Dr. Soderholm will pursue a career in veterinary bioengineering. Dr. Jessica Ray Spots. Dr. Spots will be working as an associate mixed animal veterinarian at a clinic in Anchorage, Alaska. Dr. Kevin Tangeman. Dr. Tangeman will be hooded by his aunt, Dr. Susan Tangeman, who is a veterinarian. The newest Dr. Tangeman has accepted a position as an associate small animal veterinarian at the Wilsonville, Oregon Banfield Pet Hospital. Dr. Emma Thigpen. Dr. Thigpen will be starting a one-year equine internship at West Wind Vet Hospital in Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada, followed by general equine practice. Dr. Robin Thompson. Dr. Thompson will be working as an associate small animal veterinarian at McKinleyville Animal Care Center in Humboldt County, California. Dr. Selena Velasquez. Dr. Velasquez will begin a small animal rotating internship in various cities, including Phoenix, Peoria, Scottsdale, and Gilbert, Arizona. Dr. Carly White. Dr. White will be seeking an associate position as a small animal veterinarian in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
The members of the veterinary profession subscribe to an oath. We have invited Dr. Steve Amsberry, President of the Oregon Veterinary Medical Association, to administer the veterinarian's oath to the class of 2014. Dr. Amsberry.
Thank you, Dr. Tornquist, and honored guests, family, and friends and relatives. What positive neurochemical hormones are flowing through your bodies right now? This is pretty exciting. And I tried to remember last time I wore something like this, and I think it was the graduation from veterinary school before Oregon State had a vet school, even though I graduated from Oregon State. So it's my honor to administer this oath. Dr. Tornquist was kind enough to allow me 2 minutes, I believe, for some comments. So the first thing I want to do is talk a little bit about Dr. Gardner's comments about leadership, because that's something near and dear to my heart. And there are two things that of the millions of things that I didn't know when I sat in your seats when I got out of veterinary school that I think are important, and they're non-academic. So you might put it with your rock and see if you pull that out, and that'll be a trigger for thinking about some of these things. First of all is organized veterinary medicine. As I put on the hat for the Oregon Veterinary Medical Association, this is something that I didn't really realize how important it is in our profession. We have a very small profession, and when you've been out of school a number of decades, you realize how small this group of people is and how wonderful this group of people is. And if I knew what I knew now, I would get involved earlier. And maybe organized veterinary medicine, maybe the first step would be to be active in the local association, to ask questions, to get involved. We now have new and younger graduates who are coming to us and saying, we want to be involved. So, as Dr. Gardner talked about, being proactive, you determine, your life journey in many, many ways. So I'd encourage you to be involved in veterinary medicine in the organized fashion, because we have a lot of challenges, we have a lot of opportunities, and it's you, as this generation that's going to come through, that's going to determine where that path goes in many ways. And one voice, unified, is much, much stronger than a bunch of individual voices. So that unity is very important. So that's one of the millions of, maybe trillions of things I didn't know when I graduated. Another thing that I didn't realize was the importance of work-life balance. So again, I said this is non-academic. I would encourage all of you to reflect, be a little bit self-aware, take any opportunity that you have to figure out what floats your boat, what really drives you, what are your values, what's important to you. The work situations that you get in will come and go. Your loved ones will not. They're going to be there with you. They're going to be there through everything. By balancing that, I believe that you will be better serving your pets, the large animals, the work people at your place of work, yourself, and everybody that you come in contact with. You can make a big difference in the world. I've seen too many of my associates, too many of my colleagues forget about the balance of life. And so I'd encourage you to have fun. I was inspired by Dr. Gardner's love thing, and now you have something to take home with you. But think about that. That's the self-leadership part. That's doing the inside work that a lot of people don't think about. So self-leadership and then leadership at a higher level. So those are two things out of the millions. The more I know, the less I know, and you guys will find that out. So with that, with the class of 2014, please stand and we will go through the veterinary oath. So repeat after me. Being admitted to the profession of veterinary medicine, I solemnly swear to use my scientific knowledge and skills for the benefit of society.
I solemnly swear to use my scientific knowledge and skills for the benefit of society.
Through the protection of animal health and welfare, the prevention and relief of animal suffering, the conservation of animal resources, the promotion of public health and advancement of medical knowledge. I will practice my profession conscientiously. With dignity. And in keeping with the principles of veterinary medical ethics. I accept as a lifelong obligation the continual improvement of my professional knowledge and competencies. Congratulations, gentle doctors. You may now be seated.
This ceremony, as you've noticed, has a lot of traditions. So during the processional, the faculty led the students into the auditorium. This was in keeping with the faculty's responsibility to guide and mentor students over the last 4 years. For the recessional, the marshals who represent the faculty will first shake hands to signify that our work is done, and that then our new graduates will leave first, which is symbolic of their independence and accountability for their own actions. But they will not be alone, as the faculty will follow behind, ready to support and advise when necessary. Again, congratulations and welcome to the veterinary profession. Our ceremony is concluded, but the celebration continues in a reception in the lobby after the recessional. You're all invited, and thank you for celebrating this important day with us.